This is Russ. Yeah, I'm back in the car again. I have a truck in my way. Let me see if he's gonna move. I don't know if he's moving. Yeah. Anyway, I'm back in the car again. Hey, this isn't your normal car, Russ. No, it's not my car. It's not my car. A story to tell you guys. Yep, good story to tell you guys. There's always a story to tell you guys. This one's a good one. You want to hang out till the end on this one. So I mentioned the other day that I was bringing in my car for scheduled maintenance. Remember that? Yeah, scheduled maintenance. They had a 37,000 something mile scheduled maintenance. Well, I never had the 30,000 mile scheduled maintenance, but the 37,000 something mile made sense because I was at 37 something thousand miles on my car. So I went online. I scheduled a 37,000 maintenance thing. It's about $400 something. I don't know exactly what they do. I mean, these things, they just tell you, yeah, we're changing filters here and there, we're changing oil, we're doing this and all, whatever they do, right? $400 something. Yeah, it's a lot of money. So I bring the car in, and the service writer says, well, you never did the 30,000 mile either. You really should do that. So I said, well, how much is the 30 something thousand? Oh, about $1,100, $1,200. Really? I said, well, what does the 30,000 maintenance do that the 37 doesn't do? He goes, well, they change belts, not belts, they change filters and change fluids, and I don't know what they do. But he says, you really need to get that done. And then he was talking about some carbon buildup in some area of the, I don't know what it was that he was trying to show me. I says, all right, well, I guess I'll do the 30,000 maintenance. So, okay, $1,100, $1,200, something like that. So I asked the guy, I says, well, I have to wait for the car. I don't have a way to get around. So how long would that take? He said, I don't know, 2.5 hours or something. Okay, that's fine. So I go sit in the waiting area. Met a nice lady there. How do you, TJ, if you're watching? She brought her car in for a 27,000 mile thing, but she didn't do the 20,000. Sound familiar? Yeah, so we had similar things. So she had to do the 20,000, I had to do the 30,000, even though both of us were about 7,000 over where we should have been. And so she had a long wait too, so we had a nice long talk. And eventually, her car was finished, so she went off, got her car, and about maybe 15 or so minutes later, my car was finished. So it was a lot longer than we had thought. Yeah, I think it was at that point, it was like 5 hours and something already. It's like ridiculously long. And so they finally called me up, and I said, okay, my car's done. I said, fine. So I did ask them to check the steering wheel. Remember I mentioned the steering wheel, when you turn it, you can hear kind of some type of, like, I wouldn't say grinding, but kind of like, I mean, you can hear this squishing sound, right? And so it turns out it was some type of, I don't know, some type of bushing or something about it that they had to open it up to get that out of there. Now it steers fine, because first thing I did when I got into the car is I checked the steering, and it seemed fine. But anyways, I went to go pay for this, and of course they don't do the credit card thing unless you pay extra for credit card usage, which of course I don't want to do. So I wrote them a check. Total was $1,400 something. Yeah, I think the steering wheel thing cost another $400 something. So what it was is that if you do a scheduled maintenance thing, they give you 10% off. So it had brought the price down for the scheduled maintenance, and then the other thing. So I got 10% off, but still ultimately $1,400 something worth of repair. So then the cashier asks me, did you want your car washed? I go, for $1,400 something, you better wash the car. She goes, okay. She goes, have a seat. We'll call you when the car is done being washed. So about 10 minutes later. So I get in the car now, I'm getting ready to leave, and I start the car up, and I immediately notice the check engine light is on. Now, the check engine light was not on when I brought the car in, okay? But now it's on. So I turned the car off, immediately went back in and told the service advisor, said, hey, my check engine light is on. So he goes out and he checks it, and he goes, oh, I got to check with the mechanic. So the mechanic comes out, he checks it, he brings his electronic equipment, checks all the electronic stuff. He goes, oh, this is more than this thing's showing. He says, give me another half hour. Let me look into this. So I'm there 6 hours now, right? And the mechanic comes out to talk to me. He says, something must have broke loose in the cylinders. He says some carbon something or other. So maybe this is similar to the carbon buildup thing that the guy was talking about. I don't know. He says it must have broken loose and it's scratched up the entire lower cylinder. I don't know what this means. Okay, I have no idea. I'm not a mechanic. I have no idea what that means. So I said, so ultimately, what does that mean to me? He says, ultimately, we're gonna have to give you a loaner car. So that's what I'm riding right now, a loaner car. So I said, so what are you guys gonna do? He says, well, we're gonna have to keep the car, and we're gonna contact Hyundai, and they will make a determination whether they're just gonna send parts to fix the lower half of the cylinder thing, which is basically the lower half of your engine, or whether they're gonna replace the entire engine. I go from like, this thing didn't really have a problem. I only brought this in because of scheduled maintenance, to all of a sudden now it's a whole full-blown possible replacement of your engine. So here I am sitting in a 2025 Hyundai Sonata, which is actually very nice, by the way. A lot quieter than my other car. But anyway, so I go home. And when I get home, I finally realize, wait a minute, I have stuff in the car I didn't take out. I had a book in there that was supposed to be given to my brother-in-law, so I had to go get that. I have my my prescription sunglasses in there, got to get that. My in-ear monitors that I use when I play at church, and I'm playing at church this Sunday. I'm playing electric lead guitar this Sunday. And my YouTube stuff is in there. The suction cup mount that I mount this camera to onto the windshield, that's in there. My little tripod thing is in there. My selfie stick thing is in there. So I says, I'm going to have to go back and get it. So this morning I went back to get it, and the service writer drove my car up to the front so I can take all the stuff out of it. And so I asked him, I says, well, this whole thing with this engine now, I says, how long is this going to take? So he says, well, if they're only going to do the bottom half, and if they're sending parts in, it's really more about how long will it take to get the part than anything. And then if they decide they're going to exchange the motor, which is going to be a refurbished motor, and we'll talk about that in a second, he says it could take up to a month. A month? I feel like I shouldn't have brought this thing in for scheduled maintenance, because it didn't seem to have a problem until I brought it in for scheduled maintenance. I mean, the light wasn't on until then. Who knows? It could have been building up to that point. More than likely, it's probably been building up to that point. And apparently, Hyundai has a 100,000 mile or 10-year powertrain warranty. So I asked him, am I paying any additional money for this? He goes, no. Hyundai will cover the entire amount. He says, but we will have to hang on to the car until parts come in for us to do whatever service they want us to do on it. And they don't know until they contact Hyundai today, so I don't know what they're really going to do. But he says, if at worst case, if they have to change the entire motor out, it could take up to a month. Now, some will say, well, you have a nice car to drive in the meantime. Here's my issue with all this. How do I know what the quality of this engine is going to be? Because it's obviously a refurb engine, right? And I didn't really have any problems with the engine prior to this, so am I going to get somebody's lousy engine in there now? And then I'm going to have more problems in the future on this engine because of this? I don't know. Time to get rid of the car. I mean, this is terrible. This is one of the reasons why I like getting leased cars, because every 3 years I got a brand new car, and if any issue comes up with it, I just get rid of the car. Yeah, but this one I bought is the third lease. I've leased 2 other Hyundai Elantras in the past. This is the third lease. You know, when these cars have issues, I don't see it if I have a lease because they cover that stuff, right? And by the time the car gets older, I don't even still have the car. I got another car already, right? So you pay more for that. But now that I've purchased this one, now I've got the issues with it. That's why I don't like buying cars. So why'd you buy this one? Well, I didn't have my company anymore, right? I leased the other ones under my company. And so since the photography school stopped, I says, well, I'll just buy this one out. It was easier to buy out this lease than it was to buy a brand new car again. But it's a 2019 that I bought in 2018. So we did some Googling and find out if there was any engine issues. And apparently they've had some engine issues. But from what the description is not the description of what these guys are finding as an issue. So I don't know what to think, but the mechanic says it's something to do with cylinders and carbon buildup that may have been bouncing around into cylinders. I don't know what that means. I have no clue. If you know what it means, let me know. Put a comment. In fact, put a comment. Let me know if you've ever had issues like this, where your car was perfectly fine until you brought it to the dealer, and now you find that it's got some major issue going on with the engine. You'd never know it. I would have never known it. But now it's got issues. But this Sonata is actually pretty nice. I think they get you that way. They give you a lease. I'm sorry, not a lease. They give you a loaner of a car that's nicer than the one that you've been riding. So then you look at it and go, oh, this is so much nicer. Yeah. I should upgrade to this car instead. You know, that's how they get you. But this is very nice. It's a lot quieter than the Elantra, I'll tell you that. It rides very well. Kind of reminds me of my Lexus's. Now the interior is cloth interior on this particular one. I mean, you can get them with leather, but I looked at the sticker on it. It was just under $30,000, so $29,000 something sticker price on the car. Am I going to upgrade? No, I'm not upgrading. Not going to do it. Anyways, put a comment. Let me know what you guys think about this whole mess. Have you ever had anything like this happen to you, where you brought the car in and it turns out there's more to it than you think? Obviously, I don't think the dealer is at fault doing it, but I think when they were messing around with it, you know, doing their scheduled maintenance things, it must have triggered the check engine thing. And he didn't check it before they said it was done. He didn't even notice it, I guess. And so now they're going in deeper to find out why is this check engine light on now. But he says it won't cost you any additional. So the scheduled maintenance was still charged to me because that would have happened regardless. So I've already paid them, but I don't even have the car. And but they say it won't cost me any more. So they're going to cover everything else under the powertrain warranty, which is 100,000 miles or 10 years. And the car, I got it in 2018, right? But it is a 2019 vehicle, so it's still within the time period at least. And definitely under the 100,000 miles. We're at 37,000 something on it. All right, that's all I got for you guys for today. Let me know what you think. Put a comment on this one. Let me know. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys next time.